Hello. We are live. How is everybody that's not online yet doing? Thank you for watching the replay or jumping on. My name is Chris. This is Fully Defined. I'm a certified SolidWorks expert, and tonight I'm going to be doing a bunch of practice models from TOBY'S website. Some of the harder difficulty ones, tier 4, 5, and 6. Also going to have a look at the latest round of the World Championships. I think it is the first round of 16, the second set of matchups. We'll have a look at how those runners modeled their challenges for the ones that are using SolidWorks, potentially give some feedback and maybe have a go ourselves. And there is also a special model to attempt tonight that has just been published by Toby. Thank you very much, Toby. I'll show you guys a bit later in the show. So, hello, Gummy. Gummy, it's just me and you, mate. But thanks for jumping on. I suspect we'll get a few more viewers as we progress. Yeah. I don't you have the usual note up. Let me see if I can just bring that across. Actually, yeah, I'll leave that off this one. But looks like the new view is working okay. Yeah, give me some feedback or questions as we go on what you think of the view. A couple of things I do have posted on the screen here. Just the latest video that I've done. It was a really quick one yesterday on a 3D printed lock. Check it out. It's a pretty quick video showing you the process to come up with an idea for a 3D print to keep a toy tub shut in the wind. And it's got a nice snap click to it, which I know Jern really appreciated. And coming soon is the next installment of the Build and Learn series. Currently planning it out. If you want to get notified when it's going to start, just subscribe and I'm sure you will see it either posted or when the videos or streams are scheduled. Let's get into it for tonight. We're going to start with a nice tier 4 model. So for anyone that hasn't seen, practice models I'm using are from tutaltoby.com. Go to tutaltoby, watch the video to learn more. You can sign up for a free account. There's plenty of free models to practice on, and then if you enjoy it, you can sign up for a premium account, which will give you access to over 200 practice models. Plus a lot of other analytics, very handy for tracking your skills, your skill development, your times, and seeing how you compare to others. We might look at some of that tonight. All right, our first model. No, I'm not going to do this one first. We'll do that last, or a bit later. Tier 4 sponge tray. I think this was on Model Monday Live just yesterday. Anyway, I can see Matab's done a tutorial. Maybe he'll jump on later and he can talk us through this one. But let's have a look. And we'll just set up our screen here. So reveal drawing, open a new window, and I'll just bring this one across. So we can make some assessments on how we're actually going to attempt this model. So it is millimeters and it is ABS. Let me just make it just bigger while we have a look through and explain how we're doing this. Gummy, if you're there, I'm curious if you're on SolidWorks. And if you have any specific questions, Gummy, feel free to just jump in with, put them in the chat. So this model, always read the pink notes first. Kitchen sponge here, it's 3D printable, supports required, and designed to hold a sponge which measures 120 by 80. Cool. Now, symmetrical part I can see from the design it's also got repetition, so it's got some elements that have been patterned, which are these ribs across the top face. So there's a few ways you could do that. The most obvious to me is to do one and then pattern it across 4 times. You also have the opportunity to do the whole model in half. So do half of it, just do 2 of those ribs and then mirror the whole thing at the end. That can be useful or can be feasible to do quickly. It really depends at what point you're practicing. Like the first time we do this, we might do the whole thing in one go and not do any mirroring. But if we were doing a speed model attempt, we're trying to find the most efficient way possible. So yeah, we might play around with that as it goes. Most of the details we can see are on this side view over on the left. Thanks, Gummy. No SolidWorks, currently using Onshape, FreeCAD. Do not like the interface of FreeCAD. Cool. I've heard of them all, but I've only ever barely used a little bit of Fusion, and I don't even know if I've tried Onshape. I do have from a prize from one of TOBY'S tournaments. I think I've got a subscription to a Libre, I believe, but I'm not really interested in trying others apart from SolidWorks. I can get everything I need done here. All right, so let's just start building this model. We're going to go on what will be the front plane, sorry, the right plane, and we're just going to stick the origin in that back corner. Okay, so I'm just going to start by drawing the very basic shape, and I'm going to ignore the ribs, which will come in later. All right, now we can draw them in this same sketch, but we might just keep them out for now. And then I'm going to put in my dimensions. 36. I'm just looking at the overall dimensions. Now here's a little trick with the 5. It's on the wrong side here. If I want to swap that around, I can double click the dimension and press this reverse to reverse that dimension. 13. And the angle doesn't actually show you the angle at the top. You've just got the dimensions. Is that right? Yep. So that's 10. Now it's solid across the bottom, right? So it's solid through this section here. So doing a shell is probably not the right idea. SolidWorks need to update your workstation before you can do that. Yeah, that's fair. I'm not a PC or workstation expert by any means, and I do have regular issues, even on a brand new laptop, with SolidWorks. But I think it's mostly to do with my graphics cards. Anyway, hopefully no issues today. Look, this is the first sketch that we need. I'm going to do half of this, so we will do it as if we're doing a symmetrical model. So we're just going to do half. If I do that in the next sketch, even if I come back to this sketch and add in the second one, that's where I get this line here. And it does have a radius on that edge of 4. I'm going to see how we can go about putting that in. But first, we'll just add some other dimensions. So the bottom, this one has the 10-degree angle. And so I think we could leave it as this kind of sketch. So because we've done the extrude here and then we tweak the sketch, we're going to get the error here. We can say exit and rebuild anyway. And then we're going to edit the feature and just add in the selected contour to just do the bottom section. And then we can use that same feature, do the same sketch, select both contours, change it to 5, change it to come off this face, and go the other direction, and then we get that section there. So that's how you can use the one sketch for 2 features. And then if we look at this edge here, that's got a radius of 4, so we can just drop that one on. And then we want to get those ribs in. Now the spacing of those ribs, we can see on the top view that there's a 12.5mm gap, and then they're 5mm thickness, and then 25mm gap. Okay. So we'll keep that in mind. I think we go back to the right sketch again. And if we just go to see through here with our lines, I'm going to add a couple of dimensions. I'm going to try this first as a rib, which may not be successful. We'll see. So I'm just sketching everything. Yeah, that one won't work there because I think this piece is actually smaller. Yeah. So I can't do the R8 on this because it's going to remove it. What I have to do is drop this line all the way down to here. And then I can do an R8 on that edge. See, it just sticks out a little bit here. Makes it interesting. And now one reason why I wouldn't want to do a rib here is because it's not going to be in the right position. You can't offset a rib. All right. So yes, I can select contour, and yes, I can create the rib there, but I can't get it in the right position easily enough. So what I might be better off doing is just closing up the sketch like this, and then putting the feature properties in. So it's going to be 5mm, but I'm going to offset this one 12.5. Like so. And then I can either do a pattern, which might be easier. Let's see. 25. The space between them has to be 25. So that number has to be 30. All right, so that would work. There is a R2 in here. Let's mirror the whole body and then check our weight, 194. Put the answer in. That is correct. Rambros, hello mate. Thanks for stopping by, world champ, reigning world champ, at least for another month and a half. How are you, Rambros? Oh, we got that answer right, first time, which is good. Submit. And let's just save it while we're here. Projects, practice models. Sponge tray 1. Is a yellow model. Pretty good. I like that model. I think there's a bit that we can do with it to try and get that fast. So let's have a look. Just have a quick look at cancel. I want to get back to the results. So we can see here. So the speed runs 54 seconds from Sebastian, 2 minutes 50 from Patel. Rambros, I'm great. I'm great too, thanks. Just starting to head into some nicer weather. And work and everything is going well. And I'm enjoying watching the World Champs. I'm a bit bummed that I can't join in, given I'm going away on holidays and just, being at 4 a.m. and that sort of thing. But it is fun to watch. All right, so we've done our tutorial here. Let's work out how we can do this fast. I think with doing this sketch in the one, that's the right idea. Do we want to put this sketch in as well? Maybe. Thanks, mate. Awesome. Well, we're going to do a couple of practice models, Rambros, and then look at the World Champs from last weekend. And do some live reactions to how the other runners went. We know how hard it is. All right, so how are we going to do this one fast? We're going to do this sketch. We combine this one in it. Let me just see what it would look like if I had to put that other sketch in. I'm not sure it would be as neat as I suspect, because there's this extra. I think it'll make it really difficult to select the contours when I have all these lines in this one sketch. So putting it in another one is okay. What I'd probably do is do those two fillets pretty quickly. So I've got 4 and 2. I don't want to put the fillet in there. I want to put it in afterwards. So that's okay. And then I've got to do a very quick pattern and mirror. Now, the way that we've built this, we've done it from the outside. I could put in the R2 in this one, in the sketch. Like that. Then I don't need to do it here. That works. And then we just have to be quick with everything else. All right, let's give it a go. We go to cancel, and let's start again. So it's ABS, millimeters. And 3, 2, 1, let's go. All right. So top, we want to get as much of the shape in as we can first time. 36. You don't want to misclick like I just did there because it costs you about 10 seconds. But if you're quick with everything else, it'll be pretty good. So I'm using a combination of enter, exit, escape keys, a couple of shortcuts. Okay, I'm going to extrude the first one. I'm going to select this contour and it is going 65. and then I'm going to select the second contour and both of them, and that's going to go 5. But I'm going to go from this face. I'm going to fillet this edge, 4. Then I'm going to do another sketch. This time I'm going from here with a different angle. This would be 5. This would be vertical. This has a radius of 8. And what else am I missing? It goes up 3 millimeters. And then I just need to drop that on that point. So I'm going to extrude this 5. I'm going to offset it 12.5. And then I'm going to, with that still selected, select this edge and do one that's 30 away. And I'm going to mirror the whole thing. And that's my answer, 194. 2 minutes 15. Not bad, not super fast either. Not like the other guys, but not too bad. Nice guy. Hello. Welcome. What I am doing is some 3D modeling practice using SolidWorks, using TOBY'S, his practice models. If you've never seen it before and you're into 3D CAD and you're looking to get better, jump on the website, log in, create a log, free account, and there's plenty of practice models there to have a go. I'm a SolidWorks expert, so if you're a SolidWorks user, let me know any questions you've got. But thanks for stopping by. So let's see how we went on that one. Wrong model, this one here. So if we look at our time, the speed runs, we were a little bit faster than Patel, so I'll take that. He's pretty quick. On the top 100, there are some very fast runners out there, top 7. So this is not I'm sure that there's some quicker methods that we could use. But that's okay. That one is done. Let's move on to the next model. This one, we're going to do a Tier 5 sheet model. Hey, Mohammed. Mohammed asks, do I work on other software besides SolidWorks? The answer is kind of. For CAD and 3D modeling, no. But I use a lot of other design software. I use the whole Adobe Creative Suite. I use things like Miro. I use a lot of Google Sheets, slides, docs. But for 3D modeling, it is all SolidWorks for me. Because it's what I've used my whole life. I've become an expert. Everything is super easy for me. So there's no need to try anything else. Plus, where I work, Quadlock, they use SolidWorks licenses. Everyone's got SolidWorks. All their files are in SolidWorks. So using anything else wouldn't make any sense. Great question. Thank you. All right, next model, sheet metal, Tier 5. So let's just have a quick look and work on a bit of a game plan for this. No symmetry. So that makes it quite challenging. Wall thickness of 6, radius of 6. You could... Is there symmetry? No. The jogs are... The steps are different? Or are they the same? Is this... Could you do half this model? I think you can actually. And a circular pattern, right? So what I'm talking about here, if I can just grab a snipping tool. So what I'm talking about on this model what you can see, you have to be pretty quick to pick this up in a competition, but from here, all right, if you draw a line up here, although it's not symmetrical, if you do a pattern around this point, you only have to draw half the model or create half the model. So it's not proper symmetry as in your mirror, but it is symmetry in that you can pattern it. I only have to do one of those features. So it's got 2 jogs down. I think we'll give it a go using sheet metal tools, combination sheet metal tools, and some features for some of the edges, maybe some fillets. We'll see how we go. We could also just do it in thin feature or solid bodies. Let's jump into it. Okay, so it is a millimeters and plain carbon steel. So millimeters plain carbon steel, and we'll start on I'm wondering if we start on the top plane. I'm just seeing what dimensions I can see on that top view that's going to tell me where those edges are, and I can see these 75mm dimensions here. Because we may as well draw the whole slot and then the extra thickness around the slot, then a little bit of the tab, and then step down. Let's try it that way. So I'm going to do a center point slot, and the width of that doesn't want to tell you. So it doesn't give you the exact dimension from those 2 points, so you're going to have to do some other calculations to work it out. I'm doing the inside first, so I'm going to say my radius is, or my diameter is 50. And then the thickness, because it's coming out from 25 to 40, so it's going to have an offset of 15. Just delete that dimension and we can come back to that. And then there is the square shape on one of the sides. Now it's to that edge where we get to 75, and the thickness of that section is 80. And then I just want to make sure that that is aligned to the middle. And once I've got that dimension, that helps me pick out this here, which is 20. So now all of that shape is fully defined. Now, if I tried to do, here's one tip for sketching. I did the slot on the inside. If I tried to trim that slot tool that's on the inside, I'm going to get this warning that I'm going to delete or destroy the slot entity if I was to trim through that edge. I'm going to press cancel. But because I've done the slot on the inside and offset to the outside, when I trim through the offset geometry, I don't get the same issue. So it's very easy to just clear away that line and then continue on with my, in this case, sheet metal or solid feature. I'm going to use sheet metal because I want to save some time on those bend radiuses. So I'm going to hit here, hit sheet metal base flange, 6mm for the thickness. And I do need to edit here sheet metal, go in there and just make sure the radius is also 6, internal radius. All right, so now that one is 75. How far do we go out to the very edge? Well, we can see it's 160, that dimension there. So I wonder if we're able to use that. I'm going to do an edge flange. Or should this be a miter flange, which would let me do a series? We could probably do a miter flange. I think there's probably some sheet metal wizards in the chat who might know this a bit better than me. I'm going to start a sketch here. I'm going to go down and across. This is going to let me put my dimensions in. It is 30 on the top. And then I can use this line here to get my 160 dimension. And then I'm going to hit miter flange. And you can see how it's putting the edge in for me automatically. I've just got to make sure that I've got it in the right position, which I think I do. Yeah, I'm going inside the sketch. Yeah, so that's correct. Press OK. That's added those two bends for me. Internal radius is 6 millimeters. Thickness is 6 millimeters. That's good. Then I can do the one on the next face. Because the next one steps down, but the other direction. So I can come to this face here. And on this face, I'm wanting to come out. Actually says 25, then down, then across. Now, the height gives me the dimension of 66, but I'm doing from the top, so I'm going to go 60. And then as far as the width, I get 140 to that radius, to the center point of that arc, or I get 25, 80. Yeah, well, I wonder where we can grab a dimension to get this endpoint here. It's 56 diameter, which means it's 28 radius, which means we can go from here to here at 168. And then when we do the miter flange, end offset. Jesus, I'm getting tested here. Unable to make. Might actually be. I'm not sure if I'm using the right tools here, because this is not a tool that I use very regularly. I'm going to try and add a tab. But all that's done is actually add a second sheet metal body, which I'm still going to get the same mass, but does complicate things. It's not really the correct way of doing it. Which sheet metal tool should I be using here? Anyone in the chat can help me out, let me know. And try the edge flange. No. I think I have to select that face. Edge flange. Yeah, we do it there. That's not the right way. Another way that I can do this is with the solid body. This is what I will probably just refer to in the competition if I was to get stuck, as that works. That does work, totally fine. Partial flange from edge first on flange down and another flange horizontal. Yeah, I could do that. I think it would take a little bit longer. And yes, I know I've spent a lot of time on this already, but I'm trying to work through quick methods at the same time. Now, because it's not sheet metal, I think, yeah, it won't let me break corner on those, which is okay. because I can do a full round fillet. All right, on that one pretty quickly. And then we've got a couple other radiuses. I've got R10 in 3 places. So if I can do an R20 on this one, and then I can do potentially break corner of 10. No, it doesn't want to do it for me. I have to select them. That's okay. There's my radiuses. Now I've got a hole here which is 28. Let's just cut that through. Now I think that's everything in the model. I need an axis to revolve around. So I'm just going to put one in there. And then with that done, I'm going to do a circular pattern the whole body. Very important, combine them before putting in the mats, because otherwise you're getting two bodies. Okay, and it's doubling up. We don't want to do that now. I'm not confident on this one. We'll see if I've got the answer right. 1864. Okay, it's correct. So, yeah, not bad. A little bit of mucking around, a little bit of sheet metal, a little bit of solid body. Wonder if we could do the whole thing a bit quicker by just choosing one over the other. Let's save it. It's a nice pink one. But look, it's a challenging model because it's tier 5. It's supposed to be tricky. So it's not like it was too hard to achieve. We got the end first time, just took us 12 minutes to get there. That's fine. How can we do it quicker? I wonder if we could do this first profile. I think this first shape is very quick. I think if we did this as a thin feature on the side, that would slow us down. But I think doing a thin feature here is actually pretty quick. We just have to get our numbers right. 25, 168, 60. And then make sure we do our fillets quickly, get our hole done, pattern, and we should be good. So what's our target? Fastest time is 35 seconds. Not sure on that one. Minimal takes a minute 34, I would believe that. So let's try for around 2 minutes. Okay. Quick drink. Then let's give it a go. All right. Plain carbon steel, millimeters. So we open up our file first. Just get ready. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Sketch, slot. $50. Offset, 15. Square. Midpoint, horizontal. From midpoint to there, it was 75. And then from there to there, 20. And this one, 80. Trim. Sheet metal, 6mm. Just make sure our radius is the same, 6mm. Cool. Now on this edge, we're going to do line down and across. Line down is 30. And line across, what did we work it out? 160. This one we're going to do as a miter flange. And okay. Then on this edge, we're going to do a thin feature. So again, I'm going to draw out this time 25, down 60, and then across, and the number from the origin is 168. I'm going to extrude. It's going to be 56, but I'm flipping the direction, auto fillet the corners, and okay. Is that looking right? Yes, I think so. Let's do our full round fillet. And then a hole, 28 through all into thickness. Then we have our radius here of 20. And then we've got 3 more that are 10, which is here, here, here. Then we need to pattern it. So get those 2 planes, create an axis. Use that axis to do a circular pattern with the body. Combine the bodies. We've got something wrong with our dimensions. I think I've forgotten something. I think it's this one here. 168 is from the edge. So I've got to change that sketch. It is from this edge to there. We do that one, then our number's going to be correct. No, still not right. What else have we got wrong? I think this height here, it wasn't 60 from that point. It was 60 from here. So a couple of bad mistakes that's cost us, but we're able to identify them pretty quickly. So in a competition, that would be decent still. I think 3 minutes 10 is pretty quick. Not as quick as some others, but decent. If we had remembered those dimensions or read them correctly, we probably would have got 30 seconds quicker there. So we're 4th on the leaderboard, not too bad. Ask a question of you guys, anyone watching. Is the setup on the screen big enough for you to see enough detail? Or do we need to go more to something like this? Let me know what you think. Thanks, Gummy. Still reasonably fast, yeah. All right, we're going to do one more practice model and then we'll have a look at some of the live stream stuff from the World Champs. So we're going to do a Tier 5 woodworking model, which looks like a multi-body model, which is why I was interested in doing it. I really like the multi-body stuff. It is a desk with a lot of parts. This is actually quite tricky. It's quite tricky just because of the design, the way it's drawn. Bottoms and tops, smaller shelves, angled legs, rear support. So a lot of parts are repeat parts. Full screen while modeling, Rambros. Can do that, yeah. That's a good idea. All right, so having a look at this model. So we'll kind of put our game plan in place, then I'll flick to full screen when doing the modeling. Okay, so it's inches. 0.75 thickness for everything. It makes that easy. There is, you can see this detail here at number 2, that there's like a double thickness on the very top edge, and you can see it in this front view too. So it looks like, you do one of the side legs as a section, and then that whole thing is mirrored. Okay, so it's symmetrical. So this is definitely one where you would be doing a mirror feature. Which means we can also just do half of the top, or we could do the whole top. So the way I would probably do this, okay, so let's talk game plan here. I would start with one side. I would sketch the bottom piece. The bottom piece, bottoms and tops is the same. You can see here, item number 2, there's 4 of them, and they're the same. So that very top one, I would draw as 20. It's got it's 7. Okay, so 24 by 7 rectangle, and then I'm going to do another one of those exactly, but go up 30 inches to do that extrude. Then I've got my top and bottom positions, and then I can do the side pieces that are angled. Then you have a decision to make. Do you do a pattern for those side pieces, or just draw each of them? I think I must just draw each of them one at a time and extrude them. I think it'll be pretty quick. And then the shelves in the middle, you can see their dimension here, 16 by 5.5. You just have to get the gaps right. But again, those shelves are the same size. So I would do, again, I'd just do the sketch on the top plane and I'd offset it. So I don't like creating, you'll very rarely see me in any of my modeling create planes for anything. Very rare, unless something's at a very specific angle and there's no other way of getting to it. I would always sketch on the top plane and offset it up before I extrude. And I do that in my professional work as well. I think the use of planes, yeah, it should be limited to, a bunch of surfacing and stuff like that. You probably don't need it for solid bodies and simple geometric shapes. So we do a whole side leg. Once we get that whole side leg up, we could actually mirror the whole thing and then do the top over it, because we'll have the outside corners. We just go rectangle over top, extrude up. And then the one at the rear, it's gonna, if we sketch it on this edge right here, then we can extrude it that way, 0.75, and we can do this shape. We can do those cutouts as we go. I think that works. Let's see how it goes. I'm pretty confident with this kind of model. Sort of thing that I do a lot of work on regularly, like multi-body stuff. Okay, so let's go to full screen. Okay, so new part, red oak inches, and top plane, rectangle, 24 by 7. And to get our outer position, we're just going to look at the overall dimension, which is 54, and just halve that. And then just make sure it's aligned with the origin, so it's fully defined. I'm going to extrude up 0.75. And then the next one, I'm going to select that same sketch. Well, there's a few ways I could do it. I can select the same sketch and extrude again, or I could pattern it, or I could do a move copy body. Might do move copy body. Like that. I don't know, what's the least number of clicks needed there? That's gone up the right amount, so that's done. Okay, now the angled legs, they're on the inside outside faces. So the outside one goes from back to front. So I'm going to do is a sketch here. And I'm going to sketch it in. I haven't looked too closely at the dimensions for this. I'll come back to it. I believe that they're going to be parallel. It's important to try and get these fully defined, like that point in the right spot as you're going. It just makes it a bit easier. You can see they're 7 apart. That's going to fully define it. And then we know that everything's the same thickness. Just want to uncheck merge. I could merge it actually, but we'll just leave it. And the same sketch on this side. So I want to make sure you're getting on that point, like that. See, now that time I got them parallel straight away, so it's much quicker. And then we've got our shelves. Now, see the 10 dimension? The 10 dimension is not from the top of the bottom part, it's from the bottom face, which is the top plane. So I'm going to do the sketch on the top plane. And I could use here this sketch to get my center point. And then all I need to do is put this dimension in, which was the length of that shelf, which is 16. Then I'm going to extrude. I'm going to offset this 10. Uncheck merge. And if I want to, I do move copy body, select that one. It's going to go up another 10. Now, is that everything I need for this side part? I think so. So now we can go right plane, mirror, bodies, select everything. Right. Now I've got my top plane. I'm going to do a extrude, like a sketch all the way across. So that's already got my dimensions for me. And then the very last one was on this face. And the shape, I could do rectangle here to here, and then rectangle here to here. As a very quick and nasty way of doing it. Trim that away, extrude. Doesn't matter if I merge at this point. So the answer should be 58.2. Cool. Very neat. All right. What do you guys think of that? Any suggestions or feedback on that? I do wonder if, just to be quicker, maybe I could leave some of the features as merge. Doesn't really matter if it's all merged together. That would probably save me a few seconds of ticking, unticking boxes. Otherwise, I'm pretty happy with the process. Let's save it, get a picture. Xdesk. We want to, let's just unmerge it for the photo. Cheers, Gummy. No worries. See you later. Thanks for stopping by. All right, let's do a fast one of this. I reckon we'll get this one pretty fast. Top 100 times, 4 minutes. We'll beat that. Yeah. I think a lot of people will do this a lot faster, but yeah, this will be a very good one for my modeling method. All right, so we get set up. Red oak. Try again. And we're going to start on the top plane in 3, 2, 1, go. So 24 by 7. Outside to the middle, 27. Align with the origin. Extrude up, 0.75. Okay. We're going to copy that one up, 30. Then we're going to do our outside sketch. And this time we're going to leave things merged. Let's get some of those relations in automatically, which we were able to do there. Extrude, flip direction. And do the same sketch on this one. Parallel, yeah. So you see I use mouse gestures a lot. That's when I flick the mouse up or down to get a very quick result. This one I've lost 16 by 5.5. And we're going to offset that 10 and do the same one but offset 20. Because I merged that body, it just means that I can't very easily copy the body. So we're mirroring this time. Then on the top, we're going to do a rectangular sketch, extrude that one up, merge that. Last one here on this face, a couple of rectangles. 1, 2, trim. Just press my buttons in the wrong order. Okay, 58.2. Whoa, 2 minutes. That'll stay for a little while until some maniacs come in there and do it in 1:30. But yeah, the process there is just a lot of rectangles and just setting up the sketches in the right places. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a few ways to eke out another 30 seconds from that. Thank you, Ambrose. Appreciate that, mate. If only I'd got a model like this in our World Championship battle last year, maybe I would have had a chance against you. You're too fast. All right, cool. So now I'm going to have a look at some of the battles from the weekend just gone, from the competition. 4 neat battles, a little bit different at this round of the World Champs. So if anyone's watching and hasn't actually seen these, you jump on Too Tall Toby's channel, look at the live World Championship battles that were recorded on the 12th, a few days ago. We're going to watch those and then see how we would go about them or how we might do them. The runners did. So we'll make some comments throughout the way and then we'll have a go at the model afterwards. 50% like 50%. I'd agree with that. All right, let's check it out.
And
Go. Excuse any ads that come up.
What is the mass of this part in
XXXX
grams? This part is made from 1060 aluminum. It is called slider wedge. It's some kind of an insert that you'd put in some type of machinery to maybe lock things in place or slide along in a certain groove. And both of our runners are grabbing a screen capture. If you're out there watching and you want to grab a screen capture, you go for it. Both of our runners are grabbing a screen capture, and both of our runners are jumping into their CAD systems to try to figure out their game plan. They've never seen this drawing before, and now they're going to try and turn this drawing into real and calculate the mass.
I really like Sebastian's approach, although it's a bit hard to see in CATIA and understand the profiles he was using. This is, I believe, Het's first time in the championship having a go, so good on him for qualifying, getting this far. But yeah, he's up against the first seed, number 1 seed, so it was a pretty tough battle. I think what we'll see is that Sebastian is basically doing the whole model in one sketch, and then he's going to cut out the blue section last, which is really quick. One thing from Het, I think he's got the origin in the left corner, which just makes it a little difficult to do, you know, some symmetry stuff. I'd suggest in Onshape. I'm not a Onshape expert, so it might be easier than that. But yeah, Sebastian's done symmetry, right? So he's done just half of the body coming up. Then he's doing the cut. Then he's going to mirror the whole thing and be done in no time. He is a machine, Sebastian. Yeah. So super fast. Now, I think he had a wrong answer here. So that's one of the things that comes with the speed is you can, you know, mistype or miss some of the dimensions. I think Patel went a little bit early.
Not correct. 1402 grams. That is not correct. So
yeah, not correct. So a little bit of work to go. Excuse the ad. So yeah, quite interesting to see that. You know, one can go super fast, but still just have hypo dimension off or misread one of the calculations. So. But he pretty quickly, I think he finds it. I couldn't quite see on the screen where he was wrong. But because he's set up with what looks like a fully defined sketch, he's got all the dimensions in there. Once he can identify it, his whole model's going to update. Meanwhile, Het's still trying to get, I think, the next profile done. So, yeah. A bit unlucky for Het coming up against Sebastian. Sebastian's super quick on this one. And he puts in the answer.
Looks like Sebastian may be going for a second attempt at this thing. It's always dangerous to answer that second time. It's always a little bit scary after you answer the first time.
I think we missed it. There it is. There.
And so it looks like maybe
1492 is the answer. Yeah, definitely. I would have definitely done a mirror. I was even wondering though, would you do a mirror? Like, would you do 2 mirrors? Do a double mirror? I think it's Artse is always telling me, yeah, just do it in a quarter, and it does become a lot quicker. So let's have a go at that. All right, we'll pause this one. We'll have a go at doing it in a quarter of the model, and just see how that goes for time. All right, so it is a millimeters aluminium alloy, and I would start on the front plane, and the first shape we can do is kind of the first profile that you see, and then just put in the numbers that we can see as well. So we get all half. So we've got the 140, which becomes 70. We get the angle, which is 40, which becomes 20. The height here is 20. And the total height is 110. All right, so that's your first sketch. Then your second sketch, we got a line that comes here and here. This one is 86. This one becomes 65. And it's got a radius of 8. So you can put that in the sketch. That's going to be pretty fast. And then what about the cut through the middle? We could even put that in here too, but I didn't mind Sebastian's way of doing it, which build up and cut down, I think is pretty quick. So here we can extrude. First contour, we just select this one. And we're going to go halfway up. So that section there is 30, which means we go up 15. And then I select here for the next contour, which is 50. So we're going to make that 25. And then all we need to do is cut in the middle. The width of this section is 30, so we make it 15, and we cut down. It is 20 deep, so we want to go offset from the surface 10. There's a few different ways you could do this. Right, so then that's our quarter model. You extruded the middle first. Okay, cool. But here we can then mirror. Let's do 2 mirrors. Select the body, merge. There we go, all in one hit, and we've got the right answer, 1492. Extruded the middle first, then the rest. Do you mean that you extruded the blue section instead of cutting it, Rambros? Which I think is a decent way of doing it. You could do it in 3 extrudes and then mirror, mirror instead of cut. It's probably quicker. So for those not aware of what I'm talking about, we come back to this contour sketch here. And I'm going to put in this line and this dimension. Now, all that's going to change is if we, let's just roll back to the start. So we have this sketch. So the very first extrude, we can select this sketch and select this contour to do 10 millimeters and then OK. And then we get the next one, which is that outside section, which is 15 millimeters. And then we get the next one, which is the middle section, which is 25 millimeters. And if we have this merging with all bodies, that's what we want. Okay, so you do 3 extrudes. Yep, cool. Then we don't have to do a cut. And then I think that becomes really quick. All right, so you do 1 sketch, 3 extrudes, 1 mirror, and you get the answer 1491. Yeah, very good. I definitely like that workflow, Rambros. I think we're onto something there. Shall we get a picture? Make it look like the real thing. Bit dark. Light it up. Turn on. There we go. All right. No, there's no place to record the time for this one yet. But what Toby has been doing with the competition models is putting them into the practice models website. So at some point he will do that. Then I can add my tutorial and then we can add a speed modeling attempt. Slider wedge. All right, let's have a look at the next one in their competition. That went pretty well. Another tier 3 model, I believe. Just we'll skip past the ad.
3, 2.
Imagine a Kinder Bueno ride. Now imagine it in a...
All supports Toby, so I don't mind it.
Drivers who...
There's a lot though. It's a lot of ads. There we go.
What is the mass of this part in x.xxx pounds? The tolerance on this one is plus or minus 0.003 pounds. This is in inches.
Okay. Let me get my screenshot. This is a model that gives a lot of opportunity for a couple of different ways of doing it, like either going from the side or the top. You're not sure which body to do first. And I think you can kind of see that indecision with Het here. Not quite sure which way to start, perhaps. Meanwhile, Sebastian is just like right off. Straight away looking at that side profile, which has the bulk of the dimensions on it. I'll just put this up here. Sorry, Het, to cover you up. But yeah, you can see with so many dimensions on this side profile, you draw those sketches, the arc, okay, that solid body. It just makes it really easy for like the next step, okay, or making a couple of extrudes from that one sketch. Now, I think he does, again, some symmetry here. So he's doing half the model, but we'll see how that plays out in a second. He does move very fast. So he's going to extrude out that first base section. Interesting that he has to do the separate cut. But no, he's pretty quick. I think he has an issue here. He doesn't have that full contour selected. So he's actually got to draw another line in this section. I could see him having some trouble with that. And you can see he has to draw it here. Draw in that separate line before he can select that contour to do the extrude. Side is the one to go. There's a tricky dimension. I was caught on that. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't modeled this yet, so I'm sure I'll come across that in a minute when I have a go. So yeah, he's definitely doing symmetry. He's done the middle section to join it. Now he's doing the outside section. Now, looking at this outside section, I might almost want to do a slot with a couple of holes and just extrude it up from the bottom after you've done those first two extrudes. Because then you've got a flat face, which is in the right position, and you just need to extrude up. You could even extrude up to that edge, which is what he's kind of done here. So then he mirrors it, and then he's just got to put the hole in the middle, and he's done. Did he get the answer right first time? We'll see.
Saw last time that Sebastian did submit an incorrect answer, so we'll see if he does it again this time. Sebastian looking through his mass calculator, and we're going to be watching the chat to see if an answer comes in from Sebastian.
So I think he's just checking.
And Patel on the right getting that kind of slot shape extruded. I'm looking at the chat here. I'm not seeing the answer come in. And there it is. Sebastian comes in with an answer, 2.334 pounds, and that is not correct. That is not correct.
Another time he's got one wrong. First time. I shouldn't laugh. It is very challenging. You're under a lot of pressure. Even as fast as he is, he's trying to move super fast to get everything right. We'll just skip ahead till he gets the right answer. I think he's nearly there. I just want to get that right answer so we know what we have to get for our model. I think we've got the process down.
Can have just like little subtle tweaks to the way that the dimensions are shown, and that can definitely make it a little bit easier or a little more difficult to figure out what the correct answer is. Sebastian, he's going to fire off his second bullet here, coming into the chat. 2.052 0.052 pounds. And that is correct.
Very nice. All right, cool. Let's give this one a go. I think we can do this one at a very good speed. And probably a pretty similar way to what they did. So it is plain carbon steel inches. I would start as well from the side view. And so if I go front plane, that's fine. I do 2 rectangles. You could very easily do it this way. And then another one, actually not on the origin. And I want to make the origin from the top line vertical and make this one coincident. And then do another rectangle, which is the other shape. Now that's 0.5 and 0.25 on the sides. Trim away the middle. Get that midpoint done. And then we can do the next shape. So this has a straight section, which is 0.5. Then it has a radius section, which is 1.5. Then it has another straight section, 1.25. And then we come down and across. Now the height of that's in line with everything here, so we can make it collinear. And we can look at the overall height, 1.75. That seemed pretty easy to me to get all the dimensions right. I wonder if we've got anything wrong with this one. Just going to draw in this line here, so I've got a contour to select. And then we're going to extrude out and do half of this. So 1.5, we'll do this section first. Then I'm going to do the middle section, which is 0.5. Then I'm going to do the end section, which is 1.25 plus, is it 2.5? I think so. Or might add half of that, like that. And we can do, like, one way of doing this is full round fillet. All right, that's pretty quick. Then we do our holes. We may as well just do the holes for both in the same turn. So we've got a hole here that is 0.5. We've got another one here that is 0.75. Extrude through all. Then mirror. And then answer 2.052. I think that was the answer. I'd have to go back in the chat replay. Live. Is it going to show me? No. I'm pretty confident that was it.
Definitely make it a little bit easier or a little more difficult to figure out what the correct answer is.
2.052, yeah. All right, so we got it. Nice and quick with that one. Let's save. Sliding jig. Thanks, Rambros. I was confident on this one. I thought it pretty easy, pretty like entry level. And I understand that. That's the first round of the competition. Completely fair to do that. All right, let's keep going with these. We'll watch the next two as well. The next two battle is SolidWorks in SolidWorks. Ricardo versus Will. So these are going to be interesting. And Ricardo, previous winner, you could see in the tournament, in the matchup here, And I really like this model that
we have got to the point where literally anybody.
Ricardo knew what to do. And sorry to say, Will wasn't quite prepared. He didn't have all the templates set up. So that definitely slowed him down. The first model is a really good one. Quite tricky.
1, go! What is the mass of this part in XXXX grams? The tolerance for this part is plus or minus 2 grams. And this is our tier 4 part in the mix. So, wow, good luck to both of our runners.
Tier 4. So I think all the rest of the models were tier 3, which means they got a tier 4 one here, which is really cool to see. And Ricardo straight off the bat into it with the 140 dimension, which is wrong screen there. The 140 being, where can we see 140? That's the inside circle. And so he's gone about it by contour selection, which is pretty interesting. So he's done the rectangle for the 50, he's got the 70, and he's got the 90, and then he's got one shape done already. And you can see actually that is the first body. He just needs to change that pattern to an instance of 3, and he's got the inside bottom shape already. All right, so very quickly done. Now all he has to do is the revolve over the top and cut away the sections. That's probably the easiest way to do it, is you sketch the side profile, you revolve it 360, and then you do the cut up the top and pattern that 3 times. That is one way of doing it. We'll see what he goes for here. It looks like he's doing with an extrude, and then he's going to extrude up with a draft angle. So he's putting the draft into the extrude. That's reasonable. It means he can skip the revolve, because then he's just doing extrudes. The trouble with the revolve, and particularly this one, because the sketch is actually on the side, it can be a bit harder to read. Now, Toby has to do that to fit everything on the page. Got no problem with that. But it does make it challenging to tilt your head and work out which direction, which item needs to go where. He's using the hole wizard for the counter bore in the middle. Smart. As long as you can get those numbers in pretty quick. And then he does have multi-body, so he's using multi-body, which is pretty good as well. Now he's just trying to work out how to do those patterns. Yeah, I think you're right, Rambros. Like, my first idea when looking at this was to do a revolve, but now I'm watching Ricardo have his run. I think just solid bodies and patterning is the way to do it. I suspect Ricardo would think that he could still do it a bit quicker. There's a few mistakes that he's made doing this, but still very quick. He's using combine feature at the end. Clear out that hole again. He moves that hole back down the feature tree. And then I think he gets the answer right here.
Comes in with an answer in the chat. 1985 grams. And that is correct.
Yeah, very nice.
Wow. Good.
Very, very nicely done by Ricardo. Will, still on his first sketch. It looks like Will, as we're talking about, he's set up for a revolve. And that definitely looks like a slower method. So, let's give it a go. See if we can kind of match Ricardo there. So I'll grab my sketch over on the side. And let's see how we go. So millimeters, aluminium. And we'll use a similar process to what Ricardo's done, but not exactly the same. So I am going to do the patterns. I'm going to do the shapes, and we can see we've got a circle that's 180, circle that's 140, and we just want to do like a line that's here, and here, and we can put the 50mm dimension there. And for this flat bit on the bottom, do we have a dimension? I think it's 22 like everything else. Yep. So we select 22 and we just select that contour there. So I'm just doing the one body. I'm not going to do the pattern yet. This is where he could have maybe saved some time. Although one of his patterns is a cut. This one is a solid body. Maybe, yeah, we'd just do it here. Maybe actually you could select those, do this as a circular pattern, and then edit this extrude so that you don't have to pattern anything, it's just done in one extrude like that. All right, so then we leave this body here. I'm just not going to touch it again. I'm going to follow the other dimensions. So the outside diameter of the part is 200. And that's extruding up 22 with a draft of 20. And I'm going to uncheck merge result. That's the important one. And then on that face, I'm going to do my next extrude up, which is 170. And this one comes up the full height, which is up to 40, which I can just make it 18 up. And I'm going to merge it, but I'm going to merge it with that second body. I'm then going to fillet the edge. The edge fillet is a radius of 12. And then on the top plane, I'm going to do my sketch cutout, which I can see is a circle of 150. And the center of that is at 240, which means it's 120 above. So I would actually do a sketch pattern on this one. Then extrude a cut through all. I'm going to select that outside body. And then my hole wizard to finish. Counterbore position. Let me put the size in. So I'm custom sizing. It's going to be 50 by 6 by 24. But I've got to make sure that's all good. I'm going to put it on the origin. Now, what's happened here? Doesn't want to show. Sketch is open. Got slowed down a little bit by this one. Metric, counterbore, dimensions. I put the dimensions in the wrong way for this one. So through hole first, 24, then the diameter 50, then the depth 6. That's what I stuffed up. That's done. Then combine the bodies and the answer 1985. Is that the answer? I think so. 1985, yeah. Awesome. Very neat. Great little workflow. So a couple of extrudes, fillet, cut, hole wizard, combine, and we're done. Very nicely done, Ricardo. Well done, mate. We'll just save that one. And then we'll check out the last one that they did. What do you guys think of that model? Very neat. Was the last model a good one? Oh, it was a table. It was a bit boring. All right, I think we'll skip that and go on to some harder stuff. But looking forward to next week's mashups. All right, so what we've got through 3 practice models so far. We've got 2 or 3 to go. We're going to have it go to Tier 6 model next. Yeah, agree, sketch pattern, way to go. All right, let's have a look at a Tier 6. This one was, I believe this one was in the recent Variety CAD tournament, maybe. Multi-body, multi-material. So you have the tubes. There's 2 different tubes. I think I remember watching this one and seeing how they did it. The trouble was, to get the dimensions of the cross on the bottom, you needed the dimensions of the tubes, or the other way around. The tube touches the table at this point exactly, so it's tangent. See that yellow, that pink note over on the left here? That's quite important. And in the detail view, important note here about not using merge tangent faces in the sweep command. There's an arc on the bottom, there's a straight one on the bottom. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on in this one. But exactly the type of model I would like to have in the competition. This would suit me really well. So let's just work through it, and then we'll come back and tidy it up and get the speed sorted. Now, with a model like this, it doesn't really matter what template you start with, so long as you're in the right units. I'm going to go aluminium alloy. And I'm going to start with, do we have the dimensions for the tabletop? I think so. I think it's got a radius 2.5, thickness of 5. Let's do the tabletop first. And so we'll do it with a revolve. And we're just going to sketch it. Keep it pretty easy, actually. You only have to do these kind of dimensions. Is there a dimension to the bottom? The tube is flat cut at the top. There is a... Doesn't tell me the dimension for that little step. It says the whole thing is 28 and then that is 22. So the step is 6. Let's put the angle in 110, and we can put as well, we may as well put the center line, because we can do this diameter of 417. What I really want to do here is an offset, reverse, cap ends with an arc, and I'm going to do it 5 millimeters. And see, that's going to put that arc in for me. This one here, I can just get rid of. And then this one I can use to get that 28 dimension. Sorry, that is 22. And then with that done, I can go from that edge to the bottom. Let me try that again. I'm going from the origin to the very top of that arc. And doesn't want to let me do it. There we go, I did it from the top plane to the top of the arc, 355. and revolve. All right, so there's my tabletop. All right, and that's going to give me a bit of direction for everything else that I need to do. The crosses on the bottom. Okay, I can see the dimensions in that top view there. So maybe we can put that in as well. If it is a slot, it is a slot, but it doesn't tell you exactly how wide it is, because it's where the tubes go. And so you need all the tube angles before you can work it out. I think that's what the trick was. All right, so I'm not going to do that one yet. Let's have a go at the tubes. So my front tube's going to be the one that's on the left. Now, tubes 18mm OD. So we're going to draw it like this. We're going to say it's 9mm to there. It has a 12-degree angle. This one has an R50 on the outside. So we have to minus 9, which means it's a 41 inside. We can also do a offset, bidirectional, not capping, make the offset geometry like that. This is another way that you can dimension it. Then we can put our 50 in. Then we can also do our 450, which is like this. All right, so that's the line for the tube. I think I might just mirror. And I'm going to do then a swept boss base with a circular profile with 18mm with a thin feature, which is 2mm to the inside. And I'm going to uncheck merge result. Okay, making sense? Let's do the other side. So this is on the right plane. And we're going to do a very similar thing, except this time with an arc. So we do an arc here, we're going to have an arc here, and then we're going to have a straight line up to there. That's tangent, that's tangent. That one is vertical. The center line for that is vertical. It's the same tube, so we will do the offset geometry again. You're going to make sure that this one is tangent, and that once again from outside to middle, it's 450 divided by 2, outside radius 50. It says arc is tangent to the tube, which means that this one comes to there. Tangent. Okay. And that the angle of this one is 15 degrees. All right. Then I'm going to use the front plane to mirror. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the tube. I'm going to do a sweep, circular profile, 18, thin feature, but to the inside, uncheck merge result. Okay, so then we've got our two tubes, and they're going up all the way up to the top. Now we know there's a 6 millimeter thickness there where the tubes end. So what we can do is just draw a circle here, or even convert that edge, and just do an extruded cut, which goes blind 6 millimeters. And let's go the other way through all. And we're just going to select these, and it's going to trim the ends off. So now I know where the tangent points are for the slots on the bottom. All right, if you've been paying attention, I'm going to do now a straight slot. I'm going to ditch that dimension. This one is going to be 40. And I need to make that edge and that edge tangent. Now, if they're all the same, what we'll be able to do is do a pattern, but we can see that they're not all the same. Right, the one on the side here is different. So I'm going to do another slot on the side. Similar thing, 40. Just make sure it's long enough to be tangent on this outside edge. Then I can mirror and mirror again. Extrude up 6 millimeters. I've got to select a few contours here, which is a bit annoying, but still reasonably quick. Merge result, I'm going to make sure I merge it with the table. And then I just need to put in those fillets. 60. Okay, I think that is the model complete. Now we need to apply our materials. So the tubes are plain carbon steel. And the table is alloy. And so our weight comes into 4244. There we go. And that is correct. Very happy with that. There's a lot of places where you could go wrong with the dimensions on this one and the process. It has helped that I have seen this done live, and so I could see what problems they had with it, even though I hadn't attempted it myself. I kind of knew what to look out for here. All right, so that's why it was a bit easy to talk through on this first attempt. But still, it does take some expertise to understand how you can do those offsets, how you can do the sweep with a thin feature, how you can cut away to get that exact dimension of that. There's slots on the bottom. Yeah. So yeah, I hope that was enjoyable. I definitely like putting that one together. Tier 6 model. Any Tier 6 model, usually pretty good. Table with tube legs. Gummy, you missed some live reactions to the World Champs, to what happened on the weekend. So I'd check that out at some point if you're interested in seeing how I would have done some of those models. Ricardo Jean is very good. I can also say that from a SolidWorks point of view. All right, so we're submitting this time, and now we're going to do a speed attempt at this Tier 6 model. And this is what I like to see, that there's only 17 people that have successfully completed this model, average time of 20 minutes. No tutorials yet, so this one will go in there later. So for anyone that hasn't seen how the tutorials work, if you go into some of the older models that I have completed, my live recording here and talk through of how I do the models gets added into this community tutorials section. And then also will my speed run. Now Costco here has done it in 5 minutes 29. Let's see if we can beat that. The top 100, yeah, 5:29. Even Sebastian there, 6:21. So it's not an easy one for him either. And I'm only the 17th person to complete it. So let's get number one. Yeah, don't worry, Gummy. It's all right. The replay will be there as well. Okay. All right. Look, we've only used 6 features for this Tier 6 model, so I expect this is going to be a pretty quick redo. Save, close, new file. Alloy. All right, if anyone wants to have a go against me, you're ready. But yeah, I got the advantage on this one for sure. How did we start? We started on the front plane. Okay. In 3, 2, 1, let's go. Front plane, sketch up the middle, construction line. Then we're doing out to the side and up with a dimension of 110 and offset 5 millimeters with a cap of the end with an arc. And we just bring that out. Don't need this arc, gonna remove that one. Close that sketch and put this from top plane to arc here is my height, 355. Oh dear. And my diameter from here to here was 417. And the total height from here to here is 22. There we go. So then I'm going to revolve that one. That's our starting point. And then we can do our legs. So our legs, we're going to do the first one straight out, radius and up, tangency, get that in the middle, get this offset. So we're going to offset it 9 millimeters, bidirectional. Construction geometry is going to be the offset ones. Then we can put in our dimensions. So 50, we can put this on the origin. We can do the angle, which on this side is 12. And then the outside dimension was 450 divided by 2. We're going to then just select and mirror that curve so that we can close the sketch, do a sweep, circular profile 18, thin feature of 2, make sure it's going in and unmerge result. All right, a very similar thing on the next page. We're going to do a arc, another arc, and then a straight line all the way up here. This one's going to have a dimension of 15. We're going to have this tangent and this tangent. This one, we're not going to make it tangent yet. We're going to offset everything. All right, so then we can make this one here and get that center point aligned, vertical. We want to, or just losing a few things. As you're adding those dimensions, sometimes, you know, the sketch can get a bit crazy. That's okay. Just going to get that lined up. What else is it missing? This one and this one being in line. Nope, not that. Top plane and this arc being tangent. Yep, that's better. That one being right there. Let's make it vertical. Okay, cool. Then I can go front plane, mirror. Going to mirror those 3 lines. Close that, do my swept body, circular profile once again, and thin feature, inside, unmerge, okay. Now, I'm going to do a sketch here, convert, extrude cut 6 millimeters up, and then through all the other way. Let's flip those directions. Direction 2, yeah. So that's for my legs. Then I'm doing my slots. I wonder if this time I could do a full slot. One that way and one this way. Delete those. Change that to 40. That to 40. And then get them all tangent. So it's a bit of a race here to see that tangency didn't work. It was on the inside rather than the outside. So that's one place you can get slowed down on this. Tangent. Also want to get that one on the origin. Yeah. But then they're mirrored, right? So that should be all good. Select my contours. Merge with this body. Fillet 60. Select those 4 points. And then apply materials. So this one, leg is plain carbon steel. This one's plain carbon steel. This one is aluminium alloy. And my number is 4244. That is under 6 minutes for a tier 6. Pretty clean. I think that's very neat and very hard to beat. Thanks, gang. Appreciate it. All right, and we're coming up to the last model that I had planned, which is the special fully defined Crisp Eco model. And thank you very much to Toby for putting this together and getting it into the practice models library. Really appreciate that. I got this one from jumping on and subscribing to the YouTube channel, and then later flicking across to Practice Models Premium. And this is a football, Aussie Rules football. So quite a cool model. Appreciate the notes and the little picture on there too. This is a pattern type model, which we'll do. I think the speed on this though is very quick, so it might be hard to get number 1. But just what I want to say is, while I'm working on this model, if there's any requests from anyone or any questions you want to ask about practice models, SolidWorks, or design or engineering, or what I do, just pop them in the chat. Happy to do a bit of Q&A as we're wrapping up the stream in the next 20 minutes or so. This is an Australian rules football. Sharon is the brand of the professional footballs that are made and used in the Australian Football League. Okay, so an approach for this model. Obviously there's 4 sections. And even the sections, like there's so much symmetry in this model that you only have to do like a 16th of the model. And if you can do that pretty quickly, easily, then that's going to save you a lot of time. I think what you want to do is one section, you want to add the fillets, then you want to pattern it and mirror it. It does have a pretty handy tolerance, plus or minus 6 grams. So that helps. I think a lot of the information we need is in these radiuses here. So let's give it a go. Going to start with a ABS, millimeters ABS. And let's start on the front plane. And let's just draw kind of the inside shape. So we get a radius of 2 radiuses here. One that's of 60, and then one that's of 220. Now those center points have to be in line with those. So I'm using coincident relations to get them in line. I'm going to make a tangent relationship here. And then I'm going to just bring the whole thing down a little bit. And then we can see the 175 diameter, which means this is going to be 87.5. So what we should be able to do is do a revolve. But we just want to revolve 90 degrees around here. And then we can do our fillets. Now it's got R3s and R5s and a 25mm chamfer on the edge. A 25 degree angle chamfer, which is 5 degrees. So I wonder if we should do that first. This might take a little bit of practice to get it right. So it's the sharp angle. Yep. Sharp angle, we need to flip that one. So we get the chamfer first and then the radius of 3. All right, so we've done like that. And then we're going to do a circular pattern around here. 4 bodies. And then a mirror like that. 4794. Nice. That's cool. It's actually pretty neat. And you know what? This is pretty reasonably like a AFL football. It's not sharp like a gridiron. It's actually pretty close to the real thing. Toby's obviously looked it up to get the decal. You can see here. Here's an image of the real thing. Game ball. So the model's pretty close. Nice one. Let's add the material, save, and we'll do a very, very good speed attempt on this one. I'm going to try and get number 1. Want to be number 1 on my own model. Save. Let's see how we went for time with everyone else. Only 13 people done it so far. Average time 3 minutes. We're a bit slow. Gray's done it in 31 seconds. But we're at number 8. We will do a tutorial, and we will, on the speed runs, oh, Gray's even done a speed run video. Yeah, I don't know if I can beat Gray on this. Let's see what he's done. No need to click 3 extra bodies. Is there no... Ivan exploits on this? I think so. Yeah, no Ivan exploits, so you can't do that. So the 3 extra bodies, well, let's watch Gray do it. Oh, yeah. Come on. Come on, Gray. What have you done? I'm trying to understand his process. We might have to slow down. So you playback speed. If you didn't know, you go playback speed here and you go 50%. It can help you learn. Because he hasn't even put it on the origin, right? He doesn't even care. Not fully defined at all. So he's got a diameter there, 440, which is where's the 440? That's the 220. Okay, so he's done that. And then he's done the next, he's tangented then. That's how he's getting his arc. That circle, doesn't have a dimension on it. What's going on there? Does it not need a dimension? Like he's got this 150 mil dimension here, which means nothing as well. Or it's just like, it's close enough. Does it count? So now he's selecting contour and doing a 45-degree revolve. Why 45? Why wouldn't you do 90? Okay, so he's mirroring one body. It's still got a 45-degree section. Yeah. In the competition, you don't have to be fully defined. You just have to get the right answer. It's fine. Not great practice, but okay. So this is easy enough. Chamfer, and then fillet, and then he's mirroring it. Okay, that's why he's done 45. So by only doing 45-degree revolve, he only has to do 1 chamfer and fillet and not 2. So it's less selections. It's quite smart, actually. Instead of selecting 2 edges to chamfer and usually having to flip the dimension of one of them, and then 2 edges for fillet, he does, and then he does 1 fillet, 1 chamfer, 1 mirror. So you get 4 selections versus 3 selections. It's quicker. It's good. Okay. So we'll use that. We've got to go to 45 degree. And then he's just doing a full pattern. And it's in a different language, so it's a bit hard to tell, but I believe it is just merging it. Gummy, I agree. Yep. This isn't high tier, it's not that complicated, so can be wrong. Like, you can get by. So the answer is 4794. 4794 is what we need, and we need to get under 30 seconds. Okay. Thanks, great. Give him a like. Unlisted video. Fair enough. Okay. So let's just refine our process first. We're going to do our revolve. I'm going to go 45 degrees. We're just going to do 1 chamfer, not 2. And we're going to do 1 fillet, not 2. And we're going to mirror this body. No, he already mirrored, right? So he did this revolve. Then he did a mirror. Then he did another mirror. And then a pattern. I'm just going to come back to that step. So this one here, pattern, body. Okay. We're going to be a chance, but it's going to be very difficult to get to 30 seconds. All right. And what about the sketch? I can't believe that his sketch didn't have anything to it. He put the right number in. That's how he did it. 149.687. So when he did his sketch here, he actually put the right numbers in. Then he didn't even have to worry about that. So his can't believe it. 87.5, 149.7. He's just done the circle. Circle. Arc? See, that arc's really slow to me. How does he do it? Oh, he does a really big circle. He does another one that's 440, like that. And then does tangency here. Yeah, okay. He doesn't have this circle. Get rid of that one. What does that change? So he just has that. And then he's selecting those contours. Trim, revolve, contour. So I don't want to select this thin feature stuff. I think that will really slow me down. And then 45. Okay. Don't like it. I don't like the way the sketch is done. But is there any possibility of beating his time without doing it like that? You have to go 440. You have to go 87.5. You have to go 120. Tangent. Horizontal. Even then, doesn't go vertical. Sketch, sketch, sketch. Trim, trim, trim. Then you get a shape. But I probably wasted 15 seconds doing it. It's neat though, and it's fully defined. I don't think we can do this without fully defining it. So let's give it a go. This one's saved. The answer is 4794. And we'll see just how quick we can do it. All right, millimeters ABS. Front. All right, 3. What am I going to do first? Line up 87.5, big circle, small circle, line across, trim, trim dimension, something like that. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. 87.5. Mention this one, 440. Mention this one, 120. Tangent. Cut across there. What am I missing here? This one's got to be on that. That's already tangent. That one has to be vertical. Okay, got to do that quicker. It's already 35 seconds. Close, sketch, cancel. Start again. Front sketch. 3, 2, 1. Go. 87.5, 149.7, 120, and 440. Make those tangent. Okay, revolve. I'm going to revolve it around here. No, not that one. This, around this edge. No, didn't want to let me select it. This is difficult. I don't think I can beat Gray. I think I just have to do it my own way and be happy with like number 2 or 3 on the chart. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. 87.5. Big circle. 440. Smaller circle. 120. Tangent. To the middle. Horizontal. What are we missing here? That one. Vertical. But I need that line all the way through to be able to cut it. Damn it. All right. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. 87.5. 440. Line all the way across. And then circle to there. It's going to be 120. What's going on here? That one's got to be vertical. Trim, 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 revolve. This is my edge, going 45 degrees. And then I'm selecting this edge to chamfer. 5 by 25. And then I know I forgot to mirror. Oh, and it doesn't want to go all the way down. Why didn't it want to do that fillet? I have to select that edge. That's annoying. Okay. Great way to end the stream on this model. Very difficult tier 4 model in my name. Three, 2, 1, go. 87.5 by 140, 9.7, 120, 440, tangent, trim, 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 revolve, 45 degrees, select the contour. No, I don't want a thin feature. Mirror here, chamfer here, flip, fillet here, mirror here, and pattern here. Oh, what happened? I want features, I want bodies. 794. Minute and 4. That's all right. Yeah, not as quick as these guys. Top 3. That'll do. Very happy at least to have a model up there and to get that one done. A bit messy, but that's okay. All right, so we'll wrap it up there. I'm going to split up the video, split up the stream into chapters. I'll link the chapters into the practice models for the speed runs and the tutorials. So if you did miss them, come back to the video later. You'll be able to jump ahead to any of those chapters to see what we did tonight. Thank you to everyone that jumped on and took part in the chat. Rambros, Gummy, the main guys there tonight, whoever else was lurking, just thank you very much. We'll be doing more streams throughout the tournament, more practice models, more live reactions. I think as we get into the final rounds of the tournament, it's going to be very interesting to see how everyone goes. So, yeah, appreciate that. Thank you, Gummy. I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.